Hey guys, welcome back to the Because I Love You podcast. I'm Bria and I'm so glad you're here. Today we are chatting a bit about speaking up, using your voice, confrontations. I have really struggled with this in the past, I've realized, but when I got pregnant, suddenly it became really just more simplified in my head to speak up. It hasn't been entirely easy to speak up on things and confront people, but I'm realizing that it is absolutely essential to my well-being and this baby's well-being to speak up. I mean, there's just been so many situations where I've had to figure it out. Like, for example, even going to the doctor, I have to speak up about like what I'm needing, my body, like my experience right now as a pregnant woman. I have to stand on business with that. I also have to speak up more in general just about like my capacity right now and asking for help, which as the eldest daughter is really hard for me to do. So I've had to really figure it out. I had my baby shower a few weeks ago and I had family fly in to help us get it all set up. It was great. And one of my issues was asking for help. Like, I'm sitting there trying to make all the sandwiches. I'm sitting there trying to like build a charcuterie board. You know, I still am doing all the things where I needed to like sit my ass down because truly like I'm always tired and achy now. And I just kind of tap out a lot sooner, you know? So especially during my baby shower weekend, we didn't want to have a tired Bria. We wanted to make sure that I had energy to socialize and just have fun. But it was hard. And so, you know, I really appreciated that even my mother-in-law had said to me, she was like, you know, you have to ask for help. Make sure you ask for help. Like, it's okay. We can do it. She was like seeing me in real time just have that inner battle of being like, I just don't like feeling like I'm bossing people around. I think that's what it comes down to. And you're not bossing people around, like, especially when people are showing up for you, you know, at work, when people literally have like a job title to help you, let them help you. It could be so simple, but it's just not, because I'm an eldest daughter, okay? But you don't have to be an eldest daughter to resonate with that. I get it. Like, a lot of us have this thing about speaking up, you know, making our opinions known, asking for help, or just standing up for ourselves, right? A lot of us experience that. So I completely empathize with anybody who goes through that. It's easier said than done to be like, hey, why don't you just have a conversation? I don't know, because I feel like a burden, you know, half the time when I say what I want. But at the same time, it's been very freeing to learn how to do that, because it's only going to get worse as I have a baby. I'm going to have to speak up for him. You know, he's not going to have his little baby voice for a while. And that's my job, to make sure I stand on business for my baby. I'm getting a lot of practice in right now with being able to advocate for myself. If I'm being honest, I think it's going to be quite easy to advocate for my son, because I'm already able to do it as it relates to like something with the baby, you know? But yeah, we all have to speak up for ourselves, and I know that it's difficult, but I think you do yourself a major disservice when you suffer in silence, essentially. Whether it's just like not asking for help, or whether it could be like the most simple thing. Like, I'll be at a restaurant, I don't want to ask for ketchup. Like, come on. Like, you know, I wish we could just walk it back there and grab it myself. But it's really so simple. Like, you got to let people help you more, because what I've noticed is when I don't speak up and have those conversations, I end up resenting everyone. But that's my fault, because I'm not asking for help. I'm not leaning on anybody. I'm not speaking up and saying, hey, this works for me or this doesn't work for me, you know, and then you just like pouting in a corner. No, you can't do that. You have to let people know what you need so that they can accommodate. And some people have no problem doing that. So I recommend taking notes from them. And I also think too, as you get older, you just kind of start to let the guard down a little bit more. I find myself like kind of becoming my dad in a sense, where like when he goes out to eat, he will ask the waiter. He wants an experience. He will tell the waiter what he needs, and he can be a little over the top with the way he says things, and I don't like that. And we've had conversations about that, and you know, he is working on it. He's just kind of like a direct kind of guy, you know, so his tone is a little harsh. That's like his slap on the wrist that he always gets. I don't have a tone like my dad, but yeah, like if he doesn't want the onions and he said no onions and you bring the onions, he's going to tell you about the onions because he wants his experience that he paid for. Hey. And then there's me who would be like, I'm going to eat the onions. But as I get older, I'm like, oh no, I paid for that. Hey, I really can't eat that. Can you, can we fix it? If it is a big deal, if it's not, it's up to you. It's whatever you want, right? But particularly in pregnancy, like I have been picky about food. So it's like funny to me because I feel like my dad sometimes when I'm at like a restaurant and I'm like asking for something and I feel like I'm being very demanding because I'm listing like a lot of things. But the reality of the situation is I'm pregnant and there are just a lot of things that turn me off right now that will completely just ruin a meal. Like just thinking about it. So if I go out to eat, I have very specific things that I don't want touching my plate, which is wild because a lot of these things I loved. Like, for example, onion and garlic. You got to be careful with that with me. Just thinking about it right now. Gross. But me not pregnant? Oh, I'm a garlic mama. Give me the yellow onion. I love it. I love seasonings and just garnishes and all the things. But like, I've had to be very careful with it right now. It ruins my day. So we're working on it. It can be as small as, hey, I didn't ask for onions. Or it can be as major as like having to confront someone about like something that's actually bothering me on a bigger scale. So I'm getting that practice in, and I recommend that you guys do too, because as you get older and as you have more responsibilities, it's only going to get a little bit more hairy, right? Especially when kids are in the mix. You don't want to be that parent that just like lets shit fly with your kids that you know your kids don't like or that you don't like. You have to learn to stand on business. So here we are. So I asked you guys to give me some of your stories around awkward confrontations, okay? Where it was hard to speak up, but you did it anyways. I think these will be really inspirational probably, but well, some of them. All right, this one's titled, My Roommate's Mom is Our Third Roommate. I had to confront my roommate about her mom. We live on a college campus in her hometown, and instead of her going to see her mom would come visit and stay at our house, sometimes for weeks. Not only that, but her mom would come around on unannounced visits. Shockingly, she isn't that clean and would use our kitchen to cook and leave messes behind that I usually ended up cleaning. It got to the point where I couldn't take it and had to say something. It was terribly awkward, and both of them were defensive about the situation. The visits slowed down, but she still would come around. Wasn't the best year. Yeah, that's really invasive on mom's end. I'm like, does she not like, if she's married, she must not like her husband. And she's like, let me get out of this house. Because that was the first thing I thought about was, is she running from her husband? Like, is she trying to get away from that man? But she's definitely making it y'all's problem. But the fact that both of them got defensive about it is like really uncomfortable and honestly disappointing, because like, you know, when you have roommates, you sign up for the living experience with that roommate. And sometimes it gets really hairy because the roommate has like maybe a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And that's like fine, in my opinion, as long as they're respectful and like honor the house rules and they're not being like crazy disruptive. But like someone's parental figure living with you would definitely make me uncomfortable. Like I just would not be as comfortable being a college kid if there's a parent in the house, you know, even if that parent's like cool or whatever. Like when you're in college, you want to come in at 2 a.m. You might even want to bring somebody home at 2 a.m. Like I don't need someone's mother in my business. That's strange. And college is way too expensive to be having an experience where you have to have a parental figure in the mix. Like I just think it's not the vibe. So I completely understand why you would be frustrated with that. It's quite weird and helicopterish. It's like totally unacceptable, to be honest. And then to be leaving messes behind in y'all's kitchen is just a little weird. Just anyone. Like if you are a roommate or if you are just someone who has a home, like clean up. Be an adult. I've never understood why that's such a difficult thing for people, but I get like everyone grows up so differently, but like messes are my trigger. And I'm just like, if you made it, clean it up. It's that simple in my mind. And then if you're sharing a space with people, like the least you can do is be respectful of everyone that lives there and clean up after yourself. You know, by the end of the day, my thing is like everything should be clean. I was the roommate in college. Listen, it was hard for me to like do this, but it worked out beautifully. With my roommates, I created a chore chart. And I got these little circle magnets. And what I did was I had like, I think it was like 4 different chores. It was like trash, dishes, and floors, and then maybe like a free space. It was like, ooh, that'll be fun on a chore chart. A free space. So yeah, I created like this chore chart for my roommates because I don't think anything else would have worked. And what we did is like every week we just shuffled the magnet down one. So everyone had the same responsibilities at some point or another. Nobody felt like they were doing more. My junior year roommates were like the coolest, and we never had any issues like at all. It just got to a point where I was like, I feel like I'm taking out the trash all the time or it starts to stink. Like I was doing one thing more than everyone else. And that's why I was the one who was like, I'm just going to make a chore chart. So that way we all feel like we're contributing the same amount. And it worked out great. I ended up doing it for my senior year. That worked out fine too. Like they were fine with the chore chart. It was just a balanced way to handle things. And there wasn't really like a major confrontation. Like I was nervous about that too. But I'm pretty sure I just like made the chore chart and then like stuck it up and quickly sent a text message in our group like, hey, I just created a chore chart for us to make things easier. And nobody had any, no one was like against it. So we went with it. So I think sometimes in a long-winded way of saying like, sometimes if you bring the solution to the table, that can kind of ease those awkward confrontations, which really this should not be an awkward confrontation at all. With someone who is like a mom who's literally becoming a third roommate, that is awkward because like this is now a problem with a third party, and that's weird because like you didn't sign up for that. I think in my situation, if I were you, I would have talked directly to the roommate. And I don't know if you did or not, but I would have gone to the roommate. I wouldn't be talking to somebody's mama like, hey, you got to go. I would just be like, that's your mom. Like y'all gotta handle that. That's not my thing. And also, if she's gonna be kikiing with y'all, like, is she gonna pay rent? Like, is she gonna help lessen the price? Because like, I'll let you stay if you clean your mess and you pay a little money. But if you're gonna come in here just to like cook and make messes and whatever else you're doing, you got to go.
Besties, welcome to my bathroom. AJ doesn't know this, but when we first started dating, one of the first things I assessed was his bathroom. Well, I never had a long checklist for what I was looking for in a guy, but I did have some non-negotiables. Bathroom etiquette is a must for me, especially that toilet paper. Charmin actually just published a survey where 3 in 5 people also agree that you can really assess a lot about a person based on their toilet paper. I don't need to be wined and dined to feel loved, but to just have some toilet paper that's not scratchy. And again, I'm not the only one who thinks it. Charmin's survey found that 1 in 5 people know of someone who's dumped a love interest because of low quality toilet paper. Hear me out. If they're going to cut corners on toilet paper, what else are they going to cut corners on? And the safest way to avoid any bad first impressions or bathroom concerns is by making sure you stay stocked on some premium toilet paper, like Charmin's Ultra Soft Smooth Tear. It's the wavy edges for me because you get a perfect tear every time. Like, you guys, I never thought I would be an advocate for wavy edges on toilet paper, but once you see how it makes sense, you're just like, you can't do anything else. See, AJ messed up when he came home with this toilet paper the first time because now we simply cannot go back. And it's funny because I have a very specific memory of when I was younger and my mom making my dad go to the store and get Charmin because she refused to wipe with anything less than. And I get it. You shouldn't have to be subjected to wiping with this scratchy, thin, uncomfortable toilet paper that sheds on you. Like, that's gross. That's disgusting. And dare I say it, toilet paper is kind of a love language. It's a small little gesture for how you can communicate with people you care about. The guests that walk into your house know they are being thought of and taken care of. How you love yourself is being communicated, okay? Because yes, you are worthy of some nice toilet paper. And then especially your love interest. It's like, hey, I care about you. I care about your bum. I want you to be comfortable here. I want you to be taken care of. I know, who thought toilet paper could be so deep? Listen, I take pride in my bathroom. We just moved. The aesthetic is giving grown woman who cares about herself, who takes care of her body. So the toilet paper has to match. And it does, because we are a Charmin household. And my husband AJ knows not to play with me when it comes to toilet paper. We keep it stocked in every bathroom, and especially when guests come over, I make sure they are getting the elite toilet paper experience with Charmin. You guys inform me all the time how difficult dating is these days. So don't let toilet paper be the reason why you get dumped. Do yourself a favor and stock your bathroom with Charmin so you can prevent the dump. And check out Charmin on Instagram and TikTok to learn how they are preventing the dump.
Okay, this one is titled, My Employee's BO is Unbearable. I had the sweetest employee, but man, she had some unreal BO. We worked at a hair salon, and many of the clients would end up complaining to me, the manager at the time, about her smell. I had never been in a situation like this, but because it was affecting the client's experience, I ended up having to pull her to the side. I felt like the worst human and could tell she was holding back tears, but she took it on the chin and improved her hygiene. Yeah, that sucks. It sucks. Unfortunately though, like this person is saying, when you're working in a space with clients and you have to be in proximity of that client, it is 100% that person's obligation to make sure they're on their P's and Q's with hygiene and just like smells. Nobody wants to pay for an experience and have to be uncomfortable or, turned off by like BO or whatever. Some people genuinely can't smell themselves. So I feel like you have to be very sensitive to that. I don't know. It's a tough conversation to have for sure. But I've definitely been in a few situations where BO was a major problem. And it's like, what do you do? Especially if you don't really know the person. Typically, like, obviously, if it's like a temporary quick experience, like you're not really going to say anything, right? But if I was going to work every day and had to experience like a really foul smell, I don't know. Like it just depends how bad the smell was. And I've had an experience where I did have to encounter someone often that had major BO. So it's like tough. And I think in that situation, they couldn't smell themselves. They were just used to it. But yeah, you have to say something, I guess, at some point when it comes to professionalism and work. And that falls on like leadership. So hopefully they're not like assholes and just like, hey man, you stink. That wouldn't be nice. There's definitely a way of going about it. And you never know why someone is in a situation they're in, So you also have to be sensitive around that too. But I think if I had to do something like this, I would definitely offer to like help in any way that I can. Like, can I buy you some goodies? Like maybe bring a little self-care basket. I don't know. Would that come off as being asshole-ish? Like I think that would be a nice gesture personally, but also I could see that coming off as overstepping. I would love your opinion on that though. But that's just what I think I like giving gifts. So I would just be like, hey, I got you like this Bath and Body set. And maybe some people just do that instead of being like, hey, I can smell you. I don't know. But either way, I think, this person handled it as beautifully as they could with being like, hey, this has to change. But that's a tough one. How would you guys handle that? This one's titled, I accidentally liked my coworker's old photo. I started a new job and one of my teammates was Foyne, spelled Foyne. I immediately developed a crush on him and naturally found his social media. I didn't follow him because I felt like that was a little too eager, but I would stalk him daily. Of course, eventually my thumbs let me down and I double tapped on a photo from like 2 years ago. I was so embarrassed and tried to just quickly unlike it, hoping that fixed it. No. The next day he straight up called me out and I turned beet red. Word to the wise, only stalk from your Finsta. Yeah, that was on you, girl. Why are you stalking him daily though? Like maybe weekly, just to see if there's any updates. But she said she would stalk him daily and was liking a photo from 2 years ago. So like every day are we going down all the way? Like that's just funny. Or it could also be that like he just doesn't have a lot of photos, because I find that like now people's Instagrams are not the archives they used to be. And it's like very simplified, especially with like Gen Z. You guys love to be mysterious on your Instagram and have like 2 photos or 3. Like I know this because my sister is Gen Z. And so her Instagram is like she'll have like 3 pictures. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Archiving everything? Or like, what is that? I genuinely don't get it. Or half the time they don't have like a single post. So I'm like, what's the point then of having an Instagram? But yeah, maybe he just didn't have a lot of photos. I'm hoping for your sake. That is why. I have no advice to give you here, obviously. Like, yeah, you need a Finsta if you gonna be stalking this man every day. But that's kind of like cool that he called you out. Like, I think that's funny. And honestly, like, was he flirting? Because I feel like if he didn't like you, he would have like not brought it up. I don't know. I don't want to get your hopes up because I don't know this man. But if I was flirting with someone and I knew that they liked my picture, I'd be like, oh, like, you liked my picture. Like, I would definitely play into it. Once you know someone accidentally liked your picture from 2 years ago, like, you're in. You're in. You know they're either obsessed with you and stalking you in a weird way or they think you're cute. So maybe he just gets it. You know, he's like, yeah, you think I'm cute. I hope this is the beginning of your love story. All right. The next one is titled, I ran into the guy I ghosted. It reads, I don't condone ghosting by any means, but there was a time when I ghosted a guy. To be honest, I just didn't think he was attractive, and we had only gone on like 3 dates, so I didn't feel like giving him some fake explanation on our compatibility was necessary. I just dipped, and then one day I started working out at a new gym, and you guessed it, there he is. I couldn't run. He was a sweetie though and said hello. He asked how I was doing and didn't make it weird, but I sure felt like shit. Universe really clocked me for doing that. Yeah, girl. Universe clocked you. Ghosting is a really tough situation. Like, I would never say like ghosting makes complete sense. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be something in between ghosting and like an explanation, like a soft ghost. Like, we just kind of stopped talking and stopped responding. But I feel like ghosting is a little harsh. 3 dates would definitely have me thinking like you like me. You know, because like after the first date, I feel like I can assess things. 2 dates, I'm still like confused. But 3 dates, you went out with him. So yeah, that was kind of mean. But like you said, the universe clocked you for it. You ran into his ass. But I think like we got to start communicating as a generational whole. Like, honestly, just saying, hey, like, you're a good friend. You don't have to give a fake explanation. Like, it could be as simple as, I think we're better off as friends. There. You don't have to call him ugly. You don't have to go on, like you said, a fake explanation on compatibility. Like, y'all make it too deep when I think sometimes people just need a little bit of closure, and that's fair. Because in his defense, that's incredibly confusing. You know, if you just, like, fall off and then you had 3 dates that technically went fine, you know, just say something. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but at that point, like, it's okay to even do it through a text. You know, you don't have to sit there and be like, hey, let's meet up. Let's have a conversation. I need to talk. Can you talk? We need to talk. It's not that deep, you know. Now, if you guys have been involved for like months, maybe we need to talk is more appropriate. But you'll know. Ghosting is just not nice, guys. I can't co-sign that unless someone was being a complete weirdo to you. If someone was being weird and mean or whatever, ghost. 100% ghost. But he was a sweetie pie. Like, be nice. You guys need to be nice. Okay, this one's titled, I was trying to run from someone from high school. I was home for Thanksgiving and ran to Target for a few things. Ended up seeing a few girls from my high school that I quite frankly didn't want to run into. I was trying to dodge them, but instead ended up turning a corner too fast, tripped, and knocked over a whole bunch of items on the shelf, therefore drawing attention to myself. They ended up seeing me and came over to help me pick up the stuff I knocked over. Then I still had to have the small talk conversation on life with them. Yeah, girl, you gotta be a little careful. You gotta be careful. I don't know. I can't say I've never, like, kind of tried to dodge someone, like, in public. You know, sometimes you're just not in the mood to be talking to that one person you run into. Like, girl, I'm trying to get in here, grab what I need and go. I get that. But, no, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just, like, it sucks. You just had to face that one. But I hate small talk. I really do. I don't like the old catch up, especially with people that, like, you haven't talked to in years and don't keep up with. Like, it's just awkward. But I get it. Sometimes you just gotta bite that bullet and have that small talk conversation. Like, hi, how are you? You know, but keep it short and sweet. Sometimes I think a good tactic, if you hate small talk and you happen to be in a grocery store or somewhere with a cart, just kind of keep moving. And it kind of just makes the conversation go quicker and end faster. That's what I've learned. Just like, you just, yeah, I'll see you later. And you just kind of vanish off into the next aisle. Just keep moving. if you don't want to have that conversation. But that was nice of them to help you pick up the stuff. You just gotta be more careful, girl. But yeah, small talk is not for the weak. It really isn't. So these were great. I really enjoyed reading them. If you ever want to send in a confession or anything like that, there's actually a link in the description. There's 2 links. You can leave us a voicemail or you can just submit one. I've been doing a lot of reading ones, but if you guys want to do voicemails, we might have like special episodes for that just because it requires a little more work on my end to do the voicemails, but we can do that. So send them in if you want. But if you liked this episode, make sure you rate it 5 stars. It helps us out, actually. It helps us support this podcast. And you know what else helps support this podcast is looking into our sponsors. So I always leave our sponsor links in the description. Go click on them. That actually supports us and helps us to continue making this podcast. So definitely do that. And if you know someone that would appreciate this episode, make sure you share it with them. We're always trying to grab new besties, right? But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate your support. And we're here every Monday with new episodes. And as per usual, I'll see you guys next week. Love you.